to see that at the time. And then this was the slide I was just kind of looking at initially when I was saying like what the benefits of Fieldwire are. And then going through over to this project here, I was just kind of looking through one of these projects and showing the different tools that like you have it accessible to you within Fieldwire. Plan viewing being a huge one. Everything kind of works out of plans. And then you can have tasks linked directly into plans. So like that's great for tracking all of your work. And then I clicked into photos over here and just showing that like a photo can be linked within a task very easily. And then you can see like that interconnectivity is highlighted here that I can see where that's linked to within a project. So I can see install Cat6 here, have a nice checklist. Everything's very like organized and interconnected. Okay, awesome. Sorry about that. I did not realize that was not showing. And then, yeah, one more other thing in this project, just want to highlight kind of like some forms. That's what we'll be getting into in a second here. Forms are great for just documenting like, yeah, client sign-offs, daily site reports. These are all kind of like the main things you're going to be using. So photos, tasks, plans, forms, those are kind of the main things, and everything is very interconnected. And then want to hop back over into here. So I just want to go over some kind of high level stuff here, just so you're aware when you're like setting up projects or or adding people. So user permissions, there's account level permissions, and then there's project level permissions. So account roles are going to be at the account level. You'll have owners and managers who will have access to everything, all projects, all templates. Then you'll have account users, which most likely will be a lot of you. Well, you'll have access to the account. So any new project that you create, it will be covered by the account. And then project users will have access to just the project. So any projects that they create will not be covered by the account, and that will be most likely like subcontractors that you're going to bring on just for an individual project, not people that are like Computacenter employees. This is a more in-depth kind of look at what those different levels include. I can send over the slide deck, but essentially this has like a nice breakdown of all the different things that each level can do. That is at the account level. And then at the project level, we have a similar thing, but a little bit different, but it's 3 levels. You have admins who have full access to everything on a project. You have members who can do most of what admins can do, but they can't upload plans or delete tasks. So those are kind of like the main things. And then a follower is a little bit more limited, and it's like closer to like a view only permission level. And so they can only see tasks or like forms assigned to them. That's kind of like the main difference there. Again, here's another kind of more in-depth look at like some of those differences, but I can send over this slide deck, but just something to think about. Admins can do everything. Members can, you want to limit a little bit more, but they can still see everything. They just can't delete some things or upload some things. And then followers, you're going to really like limit what they can see. So those are going to be maybe a client or a sub or somebody that you're going to bring on that you really want to control what they're seeing. But they're going to be closest to like a view only permission level. Any questions on just a kind of like account high level review of Fieldwire or account level or project level permissions? Nope. Awesome. Cool. So the next thing I want to jump into is our project templates. So project templates, essentially, this is what you're going to be using for creating projects when you're setting them up. So we'll go into an actual template in a second here, but I just want to kind of give you a brief overview of what that looks like. But it's basically what we call clonable project metadata. So it's cloning the structure of a project essentially. So you can clone over document management. So you can like clone like your plan and file folders, tags, task management. So that's going to be like kind of your workflows that you have set up, as well as forms. So like your dailies, your JHAs, all those like customized forms you can bring into this like project. And so that's all set up within a template. And by using a template, you don't have to go back and like redo things. You don't have to like create something from scratch. So using templates initially makes it a lot easier to set up a project versus like if you create it without one, there's a lot of different changes you'll have to make get it to where you probably want it to be. Um, Another thing is just like consistent project details like logos, units, notifications. The logo is a big one. You'll have the Computacenter logo in there already. So like that, all these things that are already set up in there just makes it easy for when you create your project. You only have to tweak a couple things afterwards. I'll go ahead and switch over into Fieldwire here and show you what that looks like. Let's go ahead and go into home screen here. So I'm going to go up into my templates up top here. So there's a little tabs up here. I can click into templates. So you can see here, I have quite a few different templates set up. Obviously, this is part of my account, not Computacenter's account. So I'm going to go ahead and just search for the This is basically just like a copy of the template one of the templates that you guys will be using. For the most part, you have two templates that you'll have access to, it sounds like. One of them, the main difference just being the logo. So I'm going to go ahead and just click into this and we'll kind of run through some key things here. But just want to highlight, I think really big thing here is just the forms. So I'm going to go into manage form templates. And the big things that like, I know speaking with Glenn that like you guys, they're going to want you filling out is just JHAs, risk analysis forms, site info forms. All these ones are pretty standardized at this point, it sounds like, and have been built out. So when you create a new project template, these will be brought into that project. You can go through here and look at it from here and just kind of view like what that looks like. But it's pretty standard. You have your different fields that you're going to be filling out. In this case, this daily, you have a weather field that'll be automatically populated. These different work logs, you can add like additional entries as many as you want there. You also have like signature fields at the bottom. But all of these different form templates are going to be copied over when you use a template. And so that is crucial, is that all of these there's a lot of like detailed work that's been put into like creating these. So like using that template to like initially means that they'll already be set up in that project for you. You won't have to like worry about importing them in or creating them or anything. Any questions on just like the form templates or templates in general so far? Nope. Amjad, did you come off mute there?
No, no, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Awesome. And a couple other things just want to highlight. So these tasks, these categories, these have been added already. These are good reference points to start with. You can always adjust your categories as needed, but these are good because it just gives you a jumping off point. Same thing for statuses, and we'll get into this in a second here, but these are a good starting point, and then you can make adjustments as needed. You can see these colors are kind of like the same. So I would probably, when I start a new project, I would probably change the colors just to make them different. And like that a color indicates that it's in a different stage. But all of these different things that we have in here are just, it allows you to start the project really like a step ahead instead of like doing things from the beginning. These checklists here, like a very detailed checklist for installing new APs, that's already been set up for you. So just you can take advantage of like having that in that project already. Let's see. Is there anything else? These reports, there's already some kind of like reports put together. So like daily completion report that's like a templated report that is sent out on a daily basis, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And essentially what we're filtering out for here is just a completed status. So allows you to, these reports that have already been set up just allow you to send out, have the reports already templatized and not need to kind of create them from scratch. That's kind of the theme there with the project templates. There's some other settings in here that have already been kind of like decided on with like working days, time zone. You can always make adjustments after the fact, but this just gives you a good jumping off point for setting up a project. If I were to go ahead and just do a new template project or new project, what I can do is just do new project, go ahead and call this Computer Center demo. And then I'm going to go ahead and choose my project template that I want to copy. And in this case, I'm going to do the CC networking project template. And then I'll go ahead and create that. And this won't have any of like the actual content of the project, but it will have all of the like structure that we just went through. So it has my folders already set up here for installation drawings, survey drawings, wiring drawings, as well as all my, you can see the categories on the left-hand side here for like all my different like cable runs, new install, missing AP. And again, these are all like examples, but you can build off of these and you can always delete them. So I could delete this one if it didn't make sense for me. I can always add additional ones if I wanted to. And then for my task workflow here, I have my different statuses at the top. So I could always make adjustments to those as well if I wanted to by just going to the settings icon down here, manage statuses, and then making adjustments from here. And then forms in here, because I use that template, it carries all of these forms into this project. The naming convention here is a little bit weird just for this example, but for you guys, when you're creating your actual projects, it won't say from that project. It will just say client sign-off sheet or daily safety audit and so on. Any questions on just using project templates and what that looks like and kind of the reason that they're helpful and the advantages there? All right, cool. So I want to hop back into here and I just want to go through some of the different kind of key features within, just do a little bit of a deeper dive within a project or two, starting with plans. So plans just allows you to view, I mean, I think a lot of your projects you'll have not fully, like you'll have some sort of plan. So just getting that into Fieldwire to have a place to track changes, whether they're like markups or adding those tasks, which we'll look at again in a second. It allows you to have like a great place to document what's happening on a project. Another big thing is for you guys is just like having a deliverable to give to the client of saying, hey, this is, we've installed all these different APs or whatever the scope is, and being able to show the detailed information as it relates to like actual plans, I think is a really helpful tool for Computacenter going forward. Again, also it makes it available for like when you're on your mobile device, so on like iOS or Android. You don't need to print out plans. You can just view them from your phone or your iPad. But it really makes just kind of organizing things a lot easier. One thing to note when you're uploading plans is that it takes names of the PDF if it's a single page PDF. So when I upload a plan, if I upload a bunch of single PDFs, it'll just name them like that. Multi-page PDFs will break them into their own tiles. So they'll break, like if you have a multi-page PDF, it'll still break out all those plans individually. And it'll try to scan for the name in the bottom right-hand corner. I know a lot of your guys' plans don't probably have that, so you can always go back, you can edit them and make changes and kind of rename them based on like what you want to call them. And then bookmark PDFs they kind of will pull in those bookmarks if they have them. At least they'll try to. Looking back over in here, I think good example of just some plans here. Let's see, let's take a look at. So yeah, this project, we have the folders broken up into like markups and then updated plans. But it really gives you a nice place to just document everything. You can see we have like task pins associated with the plans and dropped on here. We also have some photo icons here. So a photo that was added here. But it really gives you a nice place to just document all the work that's happening. And it's just very location specific. The other thing you can see like some markups were made here. So indicating kind of like what the scope of the work was, doing like an outline and adding in some notes on like what that scope is. Your markup tools that you have over here, you can see, I mean, they've been used here, but you can make shapes. You can add in some text box. That's what's been done down here. You can also just kind of highlight things. We have different lines that you can do. But it really just gives you a nice place to, or nice tools just to kind of indicate what's happening with the work here. And then version control, I don't think you guys are doing a lot of different versions of plans, but if you do upload additional versions, Fieldwire will like indicate that like it'll show you like a drawing is older, and you can always upload like newer versions of that drawing. Um, quick question, maybe, I don't know if anybody, is that a common use case for anybody here where they'd be uploading like multiple versions of a plan?
It's come up in the past, but it's not, at least in my project so far, it hasn't been a common thing.
Okay. I'll just highlight real quick if I'm looking at another project real quick. So if you did have multiple versions of a plan, you can upload them and it will Fieldwire recognize like, hey, this sheet already exists. Do you want to add it in as a new version? And then if you do, it'll just continue to stack up on the bottom right here. You can see I have multiple revisions. And if you add in a new revision, the newest one will be on top, but you can always go look at the older one. And then if I were to look at the older one, it would have this red little watermark follow me around and make sure I'm not working off an old version. So just helpful tool if you are getting multiple versions of plans. You can always slip sheet them in to keep track of all those different like drawing changes, and then go back and look at older versions if you need. Something else there I'll just highlight quickly is you can compare changes, like the changes between the two. So if I had any, I want to see what the differences between Rev 1 and Rev 2 were. Right now, it'll just come up default to blue is the new drawing, red is the old one. I'll hit compare. It'll give me this overlay option, and then I'll compare that, and then it will just highlight what's changed is in blue here, or it's been added, and then what's been removed is in red. So great tool if you are getting different versions of drawings essentially and updates on those. Cool. All right. Tasks. So I know we've started to get into tasks a little bit, but just kind of want to give you a brief overview. The benefits of tasks is just there's a lot you can do with them. What you'll notice across these different projects is that they're all kind of set up a little bit differently based on the needs of the client, the scope of work, how just what makes sense for like tracking what you want to track. But the benefits is that you can really share great updates from field to office, office to field. Everything's live. You can add photos, you can add text. You really like this is like your great the place to really communicate changes and updates to the work happening in the field. Um, yeah, it allows you also to make sure like kind of reduce the number if you're using them proactively, which I'll show you in a sec, is you're able to reduce hopefully the amount of rework that you have to do. So not having to remobilize the site and do punch list items, you'll be able to really track things closely and make sure that all that work's getting completed the right way initially, and not you won't have to go back as much. Some other highlights, you can do like customized checklists, which we've seen a little bit already. You get a nice Kanban view to see like across the project how you're tracking and see what status, what tasks are in. There's just a lot of customization you can use with tasks, but you can also keep it very simple. So again, depending on the project, I think what I've talked about with Glenn is that you guys are going to be using tasks a little bit differently for each project. There's not going to be a completely set standard, but that template that we put together has kind of a baseline for you to go off of, and then you can make tweaks from there. Just to give you kind of a brief overview of the anatomy of a task before we kind of look at some more in a second here. Just on the left-hand side is essentially all the content of the task. So you have your title. We have any tasks that are like linked together. So the related tasks here are a good tool for just kind of showing, if anything, that could be like, any APs that relate back to like an MDF or something. Any types of like connection you want to create between tasks, related tasks are great for. Checklists, you can templatize these. You can have very detailed checklists like that AP install checklist we took a look at. But you can continue to create your own checklists. But this is a great tool to make sure all those little detailed steps are being completed and everything's being checked off. And then below here, this is kind of like our messaging field. So this is like any photos, any text that you want to add in here. This just really works as like a text messaging field, and it timestamps and documents when somebody is communicating about this task, and it will say who sent something, when they sent it, and you can add photos, you can add files, you can add texts. It's all being documented in kind of in this area. And then on the right-hand side, these are all of our different attributes. So this allows us to really track things and like either sort and filter by this information. So the more detail that you get with this information, the more options that you have for like sorting and reporting on this. But kind of working our way down here, this like status, those are the statuses we went through. Categories we went through already too. There's going to be like kind of your different devices or like what type of work it is. And then we have plans, like if it's connected to a plan, location of tasks. So these are going to be like tiered locations. But essentially all these different attributes allow you to track in a lot of detail what and like sort and filter on that information. So yeah, that's kind of the anatomy of a task. You can also download or share this task internally or externally at Fieldwire, which we can go through like the reporting feature in a second here. But you can do this directly from a task and just share this externally very quickly. Any questions before we just take a look at a couple different task workflows within projects? Nope. All right. So I just want to highlight a couple different ones here just to kind of show you the flexibility of tasks. So this one, this AT&T project has a couple different, like these categories are pretty similar to the ones that we have on that template project. But the statuses are a little bit different. So we have a site survey, then a check-in, data install, power install, checkout, project tracker completed. But essentially these statuses, you're kind of creating a workflow that makes sense for the project. So this one made sense to set it up like this. Another one, let's go ahead and take a look at this one. This one wanted to track it. They want to track it as in with kind of like grouping things together for like your data drops, AP installs, IDF, MDF installs, and less of like a workflow and more of like groupings for your different type of work. Again, this works too. It's just kind of a matter of like what type of project you're on and how do you want to set up that workflow. And then let's see this one. This is the template project basically, but going, yeah, not started, cable run, termination testing, AP device install, completed, verified. This is probably more of a little bit generic one that will work pretty well. And this is like what you'll start off with when you start a new project, but you can always make adjustments as needed. Going back into this one here, we can just kind of run through some of these tasks that have been completed. Let's go ahead and check off this one. Again, this is kind of this highlights the really using a task in depth and like the advantages that come with that. We have a detailed checklist of all the things that have to be completed here. Those have all been completed. It shows you who's completed them and checked them off. We also have a related task. So this is check-in for this one, but then we also have an installation task that kind of is helping with scheduling actually. So just being able to view all those like kind of like different milestones. So this one actually has a date associated with it. But going back into here, we have all of our different photos, everything being documented very clearly, and just very detailed on as to what's been completed with this. And you can easily come in and see what's happening. This also, I mean, this is great just for being able to understand where you're at, what needs to be completed, if something hasn't been completed. But then you also get like the reporting functionality of this. So the more detailed that you're getting with inputting information here, the more options you have for generating reports that can be sent externally at Fieldwire to like somebody like a client. So I'm going to go ahead and choose an example over here, and we'll just do a completed report here. So in this example project, I can generate a report. We already have a daily completion report. I could just use that one. But this one is set up again to be sent out on like a daily basis. But I'm gonna go ahead and just download this quickly. And this will show me exactly what's been completed for this day. So in this example, it's for process. And then I have all of my different tasks that were included here with all of the detailed information. So really great for just showing a client what's been completed, all that like backup information. If there's any like dispute as to like if you've completed work or anything, when you have all this in Fieldwire, it makes it very easy to kind of dispute any like arguments there. Any questions on tasks or kind of generating reports?
Trying to find the mute button. So if we were doing cable test results, where would we put those so that would they correspond with the cable drop in question? The technician would put the results there, or what are your recommendation there?
Yeah, so that could be done. Let me see if we have anything in here.
Because running a cable and proving that it's in working order can sometimes come up. So yeah, we believe you ran it, but it don't work, and there's a problem with it. You need you to rent a lift and come back out and fix it. And if we've already submitted the cable test results, we can prove at the time that we were done that everything was working, then we have a leg to stand on.
Yeah, so I would say for that, potentially putting it into, let's say, like a task here, would like uploading a photo of those cable test results make sense? With like it being timestamped, or is there more of a detailed
Yeah.
form that would?
Yeah, I mean, I think the technicians in general are supposed to submit a PDF of all their cable test results. But if we were going to go ahead and take photos of an AP or a cable drop at its endpoints as it's installed, then they might as well take a photo of their cable test results, upload it all at the same time. And
Yeah.
it's a little more detailed and takes 10 seconds if they're already doing that. So there's a spot where they could be required to
It's
add
actually,
that
there's a
in.
checklist line item in here that I'm seeing, like add photo of Cat 6 line pass test, submit
Okay.
certification as an attachment. Yeah. So that's
Okay.
a great call out. You would just
So
be
if we
able to,
click on that, it's going to take us to that photo if there's 20 photos of that particular tasks.
you would go ahead and have to like find that photo. This one's just, it's not like a live link to the photo.
Okay.
So I would just go through and find whatever that photo was.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Was somebody else saying something?
I was just chiming in to say exactly what you said. In general, that's what I've done on my projects is just have them take a picture on there. And then if you do have a PDF, if you do have like test results, you can just add those to the project in general in the files. Like if you have a fluke test report, you can put those in there.
Yeah, let's see if we can. Yeah, I think that's a good call out though. That's just adding, I mean, and I think that's a good example of like tasks in general is just like put everything as it relates to any item, put everything into that task. Whether, yeah, it's a photo, whatever it may be, linking it back to the task makes it very easy for you to go back and find, anybody else to go back and find. And then it's timestamped too, which is nice. So you can see if there's a dispute as to like when it was done, you have it, timestamped that it was uploaded whenever it was. Cool. Any other questions in general on tasks? Cool. The last thing that I wanted to just kind of run through again quickly was these forms. I know because this was based off of the template, like all these will come in here, but just using these daily site reports on a daily basis and making sure you're filling those out. It's really simple, easy to fill out. It's already been like set up for you. But you can also see here that these can be linked to other locations within Fieldwire. So here I have it linked. It's linked to a task here. So you could have like, a task with a few forms that can be linked to it to let somebody know that they have to fill them out. Like site info form, daily site reports, things like that. But all these forms should be pretty straightforward and easy to fill out. I know, yeah, there's been a fair amount of effort put in to create these. So just make sure that, yeah, you should have access to them, should be able to fill these out on a regular basis. I think that kind of covers it for what I wanted to cover with you guys today. Any questions on anything specifically that we covered just now or in general?
We only have 16 people here today. It's a little bit less than, or did we have more starting whenever the training started?
No, honestly, I think it's kind of gone. We started around 13 and it's a couple people have added in.
Okay.
So hopefully hopefully that's a good thing.
A good sign, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Veronica, I just saw that comment that you did that with AT&T. Appreciate that comment.
Now, Dylan, a question. When you create a project, does that automatically saved, or you have to have a save function to save it?
No, good question. Everything gets saved like automatically. So once you create it and you add things, there's only a couple places where you have to like actually save it, like hit save changes, which is really in like the settings portion of Fieldwire, like within if you're changing like statuses or categories or anything like that, like those things you'll have to be like intentional, and that's on purpose to make sure like do you actually want to make those changes. So that's just mainly settings, and then any other updates like you're making markups, you're adding photos, you're adding like notes or anything, that automatically saves for you.
Now, I'm looking at my templates, and I see project templates. I see account from templates. What is account from templates?
So account form templates, those are all the forms that we were kind of just looking at. There's probably a few in there, but those are just like your daily reports, your JHAs, your risk analysis. Like, is that what you're seeing underneath there?
Correct. Yeah. So that transfers automatically with the template. All of that.
Those are basically included in the project template. And then they're also available, just those forms are available at the account template. So if there's ever like a form that you saw was not in a project, you can import those from your account. So I can show you real quick what that looks like. So let me see.
You're not sharing your screen, by the way.
Yeah, I'm about to share it. I did know that this time.
Good.
All right, here we go. Let's see.
We never doubted you, by the way.
Come on. Now my computer's freezing. Okay. So if I go into templates here, what you're referring to is this one, right?
Correct.
Yep. So these are all those different forms. Like I have a ton in here, obviously, because it's our entire account. But all these are all the forms. So like, if I go ahead and just preview this one, this is like a form that's been created. So just like individual forms, and all those forms should be part of like the project template. But you could maybe be creating forms on an individual project that you eventually push up to the account level. And so maybe they're just at the account level, like within the form templates and not within the project template itself. But then maybe like as an example, if I wanted to, let's go ahead. If for whatever reason I didn't have like a form template in a project and I wanted it to be in there, what I can do is, let me go ahead and go into this one, do new form, new template, and I can import from account. And all these ones that are available at the account level, I could go ahead and select and then import into this project.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you.
Yep, no problem.
Hey, Amjad, can I do a share screen here and just kind of do a notation there with what in the forms?
Sure.
In the forms, it allows us to build just custom questionnaire, custom reports that the field can deploy. So like in this case here, like the survey report form. So I built this the other day, and it's just a form that I know I wanted to be able to get filled out for a survey. So the technician, so I built all of this myself. So you can build your own form that you want custom for whatever they count. So like if there's a form that Symbotic or Amazon or somebody needs filled out, then you can build it here. You can also take forms and import a form, a PDF. Is it possible that you could show that,
Yeah,
Dylan?
I can show that for sure.
So if the customer has a specific form that he needs us to fill up, we can import it and put it in the project.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. So if I did like that example of like, yeah, I have a specific form that's, the client's requiring us to fill out, I can do new form here, do a new template, and then I'll go ahead and hit create new. And then I'll start with, instead of a blank template or a pre-built one, I'll do upload existing PDF form. And then I'll call this just client example form. And then I'll go ahead and hit upload file, select file. And then this will just allow me to choose whatever PDF I want to upload. This one's just a sample one. It's pretty basic, but it helps show the process here. So I'll go ahead and hit upload file. And then whatever, like those fields that were already fillable, like that were made fillable in like a Bluebeam or Adobe or something, will carry over. So when I create this now, I can go ahead, it'll take me into the back end here, but I'll go ahead and hit preview. And then whatever that form was, however that looked, it'll just be brought into Fieldwire the same way. So these options here, I can, like if they're fillable before they were in Fieldwire, they'll also be fillable in Fieldwire. And then you also have, even if they're not fillable, you have options to like annotate and add texts, signatures, shapes, just make like full markups on here.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Yep. Is that good, Glenn?
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks,
No
Glenn.
problem.
Now,
Cool.
would you have to publish it? Or that's it?
Publish it. Yeah, sorry, I probably should have finished out that step. Let's see. Good call. Yeah, I would go ahead and hit like preview just to make sure like, yeah, this is the right one, make sure it has everything I need. And then I would just go ahead and hit publish it. And then that would make it available to start being able to like create a new form. So I can now choose that as an option to just create a new one. So yeah, make sure forever form if you ever don't have access to like if you see it, but you can't, well, it'll show you here if it's published or not, but if it's unpublished, you won't be able to actually start a new form. Cool. All right. Any other last questions? All right.
No.
Seems like we can end a little bit early. Anything else to add on your end, Glenn?
No, I think everybody has gotten pretty good exposure to it. They know where to reach out if they need some help.
Now, Glenn, I have one question. If you created a form that's not existence, can you publish it without anybody's approval, or you have to approve it from somebody to be published in that project?
If you are an admin, you will not need permission. You won't be able to create a new form if you're not an admin, but
But as far as
yeah.
the computer center goes, are we supposed to get it approved from somebody before we publish it in the project? Or just create whatever I want to create and just put it in the project?
Maybe that's probably a question for you, Glenn.
I don't think that, well, I think that the publishing is done at the admin level, isn't it? Like you as a user can't finalize it, the form, can you?
So if I have a project, I'm creating a new project, and I have a form that I want to include, should I just go ahead and include it? A new form is not in existence, a template. Do I need any approval from anybody, or just go and do?
No. Yeah, no, you don't need approval.
Okay, that's just create whatever I want to create. Okay.
Yeah, heck
Yeah,
yeah.
especially at the project level, you can make those changes freely.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Well, yeah, everyone should have my contact info. Again, feel free to reach out with questions, or yeah, if you ever want to set up individual meetings, happy to do that usually. But yeah, let me know if you have any issues or any additional things. But hopefully this was helpful. Yeah, Glenn, maybe we can talk about just doing a follow-up session in the new year to just do like an open Q&A to see if people have any follow-up questions. But
Yeah, that'd be great.
cool. Well, awesome. Thanks everyone for your time, and
Thank
yeah,
you.
hope everyone enjoys the holiday break. Thanks all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy
Glenn.
holidays.
Thank
All right,
you.
bye.
Bye.
Bye and happy holiday.